Hello, welcome back to my weekly reading update. I'm going to share two sci-fi fantasy books that I read this week. The first is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. And there's a really cool mythology in this book. Originally in this world there were three gods: the god of light and order, the god of darkness and chaos, and the goddess of balance. They had kids who were gods, they had made humans, etc. Then there's a bit of drama that goes down between the original three gods, and a god's war ensues. This book is set hundreds of years after the end of the Gods' War, and you can tell that the consequences of who won and who lost in the Gods' War really shows in the world that you see here. Our main character is Yen. She's a young woman from the far north, far away from the capital and the seat of power. The capital is called Sky, and she's from the far north. But the thing is, Yen's mother actually was an heiress to the kingdom, but she ran away and went to the north, had a whole life up there. So Yen's mother mysteriously dies at the beginning of the book, and then Yen is summoned by her grandfather, the ruler, to Sky, the capital. And she comes, and surprise! Grandpa makes her one of the heirs in competition for the kingdom. She's the newest of the heirs in the pool competing. There are vicious power struggles that happen between the humans and among the gods too. This is such a cool world. Like the mythology, I don't even like mythology that much, and I really appreciate it. It is very cool in this book. I loved having there's gods that live amongst the mortals, and in particular I'm really fond of one of the gods. He's a child god. His name is Se or Xie. His name is spelled S-I-E-H, and he's so lovable. I'm like such a sucker for the adorable characters. I really loved him, and I liked Yen, the heroine, well enough. She's like brashly brave and really cool in a lot of ways, but she's overall too selfless for my personal taste. So this book almost reminded me of the Trader Baru Cormorant, in that Baru is kind of like Yen in that they are from like a poorer country, and they come more to the core to get power. And then it also kind of reminded me of the Goblin Emperor, instead of like a fantasy book where you go to fantastical lands and you discover a lot of things. All of this plot is set in the High Court. But in the Goblin Emperor, there's a lot of political intrigue being in the High Court, and there is like almost no political intrigue in this book, strangely enough, despite its setting in the capital city, where they're competing for who's going to become heir. There's not really intrigue, there's a lot of mystery. There's an unnecessary amount of surprises, like everything is shrouded in mystery, and surprises come up as you read it, and it was just like a lot of stuff just obfuscated, and I felt like it was very unnecessary. It felt more like gotcha, you didn't know about this stuff because we were structurally hiding it from you, and it actually felt like all that mystery was deepening the story in any way. However, despite some qualms and issues with this, overall I actually really enjoyed reading it. This is like a really good book and has incredible gods and mythology, and it's really enjoyable. The other book that I want to talk about is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. And this is a different kind of world from the last book I talked about. The children, there's some children who fall through portal fantasy style, that it's kind of like through the wardrobe to Narnia. And the children that do fall through, it's very rare, but when they do, they fall into a world that has an affinity for them, and the children grow to feel like really deep sense that this is actually their real home. This is like where they actually belong. But some magical lands, when the children kind of use up some sort of miracleness to them, they kick them back to here, our world, our Earth, and these children are bereft because they feel like they've been kicked out of home. And there's this. The main character is one of these girls, and her name's Nancy. The thing is, her parents don't understand her. She's been gone. They're like, you were kidnapped, you have some weird Stockholm syndrome, and they don't know how to take care of her. They love her, but they don't understand her at all. And so they send her to a very interesting school, like it's kind of like a boarding school. It's called Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children. And so Nancy comes up to the school, and she realizes that Eleanor West, the woman who runs the Home for Wayward Children, she was one of those children who was kicked out of their magical lands and wants to go back. Thing is, around the time that Nancy arrives at this school, tragedy strikes, and then again and again. And so Nancy and her new friends / schoolmates, they need to get to the heart of the matter to save the school, to save each other. Now, this has a really cool concept. It's got a really interesting mood. It's very nonsensical. It's very creepy. Cool stuff, right? But there is so much heavy-handed over-explaining in this book. they're trying to describe like the diagrams of how different fantasy worlds are connected to each other, related to each other, and it's over-explained once, and then again, and then again, and same thing with character motivations and why they do their actions. Like, all this stuff is over-explained, and I felt like the book was treating me like I was the dumbest person in the world. And it's so frustrating, it's just painful when you have to explain things, and you're just saying it in different ways each time. You're not bringing any new information to the table. I also had a weird issue with the mystery of this. The heart of the novel is when Nancy comes and there's all these tragedies, but it's like the most transparent mystery ever, and I'm not good at guessing mysteries. I read like Agatha Christie novels and I never guess the murderer. It was strangely transparent, and they're like, "Oh, look, mystery," and I'm like, I don't understand this. Why is this being played up? And I have one last like major issue. I have a lot of issues with this book, surprisingly, but one like major one that I want to mention is that a lot of parents are mentioned, and for the most part, they're all like really great, loving parents, but the parents are over demonized. I mean, if you're gonna demonize a parent, make it a bad parent. They were parents who, yes, they didn't understand their children because their children had a fantasy adventure, but they loved their children. They're trying to do the best for their children. But the parents are demonized. It was really weird. It's a very strange experience to read this book. So I had a lot of issues, as I mentioned, and it had a lot of promise with the premise and the cool nonsense fantasy stuff, but the execution, painful, just excruciating to read and like it. So those are two books that I wanted to mention from my reading this week. I hope you enjoyed that. Till next time, my lovelies.